NXT Takeover is on Saturday, and Money in the Bank is on Sunday. Two events of heightened importance, and my god, it looks to be a very entertaining weekend of WWE television. And after RAW and SmackDown were about as bad as each other this week, I thought I'd cut my losses and simply predict both WWE Network special pay-per-view events, because that would be a better use of my time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wrestling Rant, doing a pay-per-view prediction special. We kick things off with NXT Takeover Chicago 2 happening on the Saturday. That's tomorrow for those of you who have no concept of time. And the fact is, Mauro Ranallo will not be commentating, as Vic Joseph will be replacing him due to Ranallo's boxing commitments. Now, the fact is, I know wrestling fans are incredibly harsh on anyone new, and I'm hoping they don't give Mr. Joseph a bad time. He's a professional sports broadcaster, he should know what he's doing, and it should be fine. Then again, I'm not going to criticise a commentator for their first time on the job. However, if it's as bad as Beth Phoenix was, I may have some problems there. Then again, I crapped on Percy Watson's first broadcast attempt a couple months back, and he's managed to turn it into something quite solid over time. Then again, this is what you get for working with Mauro Ranallo and Nigel McGuinness. That's all I'm saying. Now, let's look at the matches in total, shall we? The Undisputed Era defending the tag titles against Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. The fact is, I'm not that knowledgeable about this team, the challengers I mean, but the Undisputed Era, I don't see them losing so soon after that swerve that kept the titles on their team in New Orleans. They want to showcase Roderick Strong in the team with Kyle O'Reilly, and I don't see them losing. I know that Lorcan and Burch are hard-hitting and very intense. They'll give them a rough housing of a fight, but apart from that, it doesn't really make any sense. You want to keep momentum on the team that has overtaken all aspects of the mid-card on NXT, and I'd hope that they wouldn't just take the belts off them for a shock. You know what I mean? It would make valid sense as far as I'm concerned, so the Undisputed Era retaining, that makes sense. I'll take it forward as we go into the next match. Ricochet versus Velveteen Dream. Now, you think a clash of styles between Black and Dream was interesting? This is a clash of styles, but they're all too similar when you boil things down. Both are athletic, bombastic, and creative performers, but in slightly different ways. And that's really good to highlight where the story of this one's going to go, because both of them are trying to outshine each other, and that is beautiful. Now, I was going to go for the Velveteen Dream here, because after he didn't win the NXT North American Championship at New Orleans, which was of course my prediction, I want him to gain some momentum going forward into Brooklyn in August. Here's the thing though, Ricochet needs it more in my personal opinion, because there's nothing better than a heel that can whine and complain about not getting things their way. Not to mention, if Velveteen Dream does end up losing through some bogus piece of crap like a roll-up or something, he can then go on and say, well look, I've proven myself week in, week out, yet why is everyone else getting much more than I am? Leading to a different side of his bohemian persona, and maybe something good can come out of it. Maybe he ends up winning a number one contendership match to fight Aleister Black and potentially wins it. And then again, that would come out of the blue if his momentum isn't there, but you get what I'm saying. I think Ricochet, after his performance in New Orleans, has the crowd in the palm of his hands, and getting that victory is necessary. Not to mention, considering I have a lot of heel victories on this card for my predictions, I need to face victory somewhere, and therefore it is logical that I would give it to Ricochet. Now, the NXT Women's Championship, Shayna Baszler versus Nikki Cross. I'm going for Baszler because even though I do love Cross, this is a battle between one person who's deranged and one who is crazy. There are two different ways of describing that, and I bet you can't figure out which one is which. The fact is, Baszler not so long ago won the damn belt. Of course, I was there in bloody person to see it. I feel that she needs to keep her momentum going, and no matter how much of a fight Nikki Cross is going to give her, in what should be a very violent match without much blood, it shouldn't be really difficult to predict that Baszler's not going to win. It makes valid sense, doesn't it? And we go on to the championship bout itself now, as Aleister Black takes on Lars Sullivan. Now, if Black wasn't 1 or 2 months out of winning the title, I would have probably given it to Sullivan. For example, if Almas had just gotten out through the skin of his teeth, maybe I would have given Sullivan the belt then, but here's the fact. Aleister Black is too good to not have that championship, and if he's going to lose it, put it on a bigger show, in my opinion. Build Sullivan up like a monster, have him barely come out losing, and it would look pretty solid. Here's the thing though, once you lose to a guy like Aleister Black, who could legitimately kick the crap out of anybody, of course the former Tommy End would do, you're not going to look that great coming out of it regardless. The fact is, it just seems obvious that Black's going to win, and that's why I'm going to go for it there. It's valid. Now, if you haven't been keeping up, I have 2 heel victories and 2 face victories, which means the Chicago street fight is going to be an interesting one. Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. Now, I went for Ciampa in New Orleans because I thought it would be great to push the needle in further and have Ciampa solidify himself as the biggest heel in WWE period, and then go on to face Black either here at Chicago or Brooklyn for the championship. Now, the fact that Gargano won in New Orleans is frustrating to me because my idea for where the storyline could go went completely out the window and they just ramped up the stakes even more on television. So here's what I'm thinking. Ciampa's going to have to win this one. I mean, a 50-50 booking is a thing that NXT does not do, but this is one of those times where they can. So then a blow-off match can happen properly in Brooklyn. If they want a Hell in a Cell match to be the thing that really tips it over, then by all means, book it for Brooklyn. But here's the thing. Ciampa needs a win, because if he loses this, where's his momentum going to go? He can easily do what happened after New Orleans and recover it almost instantaneously, which will be great, but I'm not going to be the one waiting around for a month or 2 to see that. So I'm going to give the victory to Ciampa because it makes valid sense. I've said that 3 or 4 times here, but this is what happens. Predictions are about deciphering the narrative threads and trying to make them into a patchwork that is legible. That's what I'm trying to do here, folks. Look at this and say, well, it makes sense for Ciampa to win, because Gargano already got one. And that's the easiest way of summing up the main event, which should hopefully be more bloody and violent than their unsanctioned match was. Then again, they somehow made a fantastic, incredible 5-star contest without spilling any. So let's hope they can this time, just to wet my whistle just a little bit. Anyway, now with all that out of the way and NXT done and dusted, let's move on to Money in the Bank. I've just remembered, ladies and gentlemen, that the main roster WWE pay-per-view events will all be 4 hours long in length outside of the Big 4. Meaning, including the pre-show, this show will be 5 hours long. Wow. I don't stay up late to watch RAW and SmackDown anymore because I think they're a chore. This is going to be a new endurance test. Then again, staying up to the end of Backlash was turgid. This could be problematic if I don't set my body clock right. Anyway, we have a lot of matches to get through here. Let's look at them and see where I stand. The Bludgeon Brothers vs Gallows and Anderson is the pre-show bout for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Now, small problem here. I am a little bit worried because Gallows and Anderson won their only tag team titles in WWE on a pre-show, so sticking them there is problematic, but the Bludgeon Brothers are probably going to win because their title reign is going to be a long one, meaning the team that defeats them needs to be built up with as much intensity as possible. Do I see any potential challenges? No, actually, if you can believe it. So at the moment, the Bludgeon Brothers are going to retain and keep their reign going. Carmella versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Carmella is going to win via nefarious means or iconic duo interference. She didn't do it against Charlotte to prove she held her mantle. This time, however, Asuka's going to push her to the limit, but somehow is not going to win the title. That's pretty much how I can put it from there. That's what we're going to tackle with. Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. I do not want Bobby Lashley to win this because Sami is too entertaining to see him be crushed by a emotionless, completely and utterly bland babyface. But Bobby Lashley has to win, considering he had all that crap thrown at him over the last month or so. Even though he smiled through all of it, meaning all of the antagonism was mute and pointless. Yay for poor storytelling! I'm not even going to deny this is the worst feud of the year thus far. And the wrong guy in personal opinion is going to win it because Lashley doesn't need to benefit. Whilst what will you do with Sami Zayn from here? Put him in a feud with Kevin Owens? We've already seen that twice. Just saying. But with Lashley's winning though, I'm going to have to just move on to another match that people are surprisingly unhappy about, or unsurprisingly if you know the internet. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. You know what? I'm actually going to go with everybody else. I was going to go for Jinder Mahal winning, but come on. It's Roman Reigns against a dastardly heel. It's going to be Roman. And I don't know where on this card this match is going to go. If they stick it on last, they're insane. Hopefully they won't, because the WWE Championship Last Man Standing match is more important. Just saying. But Roman Reigns is going to get the easy victory here. Hopefully Mahal can be led to a decent match with him. He's had a few good ones with Jeff Hardy in the last month or two, so anything's possible, right? Now, Seth Rollins versus Elias for the Intercontinental Championship. This could be a show stealer. The fact is, Seth has been just basically putting match of the night, match of the night, match of the night, performer of the damn year performances since he won the belt. So Elias can give him a good hard-hitting exterior to fight with, different from the usual, and inevitably put on a really good contest. Seth's retaining though, because I like Elias now. I don't see him winning the belt, because it's not really the right time for him. He could interfere in the Money in the Bank ladder match with a stiff guitar shot to the back of someone's head, which would be lovely. Who though it would be to, I don't know. Seth Rollins, that belt is money on you, and therefore you need to keep it, even though a lot of us want to see him win the Universal belt. You never know, he just might if plans do change. From there, we have Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass, and because 50-50 booking is rife on the main roster, Big Cass is winning, there is no question about it. How he wins may be a bit problematic in predicting, but I'm going to say this right now, nefarious means and belligerent refereeing will lead to Big Cass winning. Makes sense, doesn't it? 50-50 booking is very transparent and predictable, or maybe Big Cass loses, but we're not really expecting it. Then again, if they do that, brilliant, but then I'd have to wonder what the hell was the point of having him lose at Backlash then. See what I mean? It throws out some problems there. God, I nearly choked on my own spit because I realised I nearly went somewhere different than the norm. Yay, Vince McMahon's controlling me and potentially killing me from distance. Now, the big match, or one of the few on this card, Nia Jax defending against Ronda Rousey. For the NXT Women's Championship. Oh god. This isn't good, folks. That's not over my cold yet. The thing is, I don't know where to go with this, because there's a lot of ways you can take it. You can have Nia lose the belt and have the Money in the Bank winner cash in, or you can have Stephanie McMahon come in and screw Ronda completely, or come up with a bogus reason for a DQ, or have Nia squash her, which would do nothing to help Ronda at all. There's a lot of ways you can come through this. You can even have a typical babyface fighting up against this heel, and then not winning, but coming out looking good. Because going up against an older Stephanie and Triple H is nothing like going up against a peak fitness women's champion. So, it could go many in a direction with this. The problem I have is knowing WWE and the story they're trying to tell, they won't allow this match to go down a typical route. So, I don't think it's going to be Money in the Bank cash-in worthy. Knowing who my predicted winner is going to be, I have bigger plans for that. I feel Stephanie is going to get involved, cause a bogus DQ, make Nia look more like a chicken shit than she has been, despite how strong she's looked on television, and have Nia retain, but not through the best mean possible. That just makes sense. Makes sense, doesn't it, folks? I mean, having Ronda beat Nia, despite not really putting up that much of a fight, it's going to be problematic. But here's the thing. Nia needs that belt to at least remain relevant, and on the case of Ronda, she got given the championship opportunity out of legit nothing by being goaded to ask for it. I mean, I'd rather have a challenger win a number one contendership match and then get it, but you can see where I stand on that. Ronda Rousey will do well here, I hope. Unfortunately, she is not going to win, in my opinion. And again, I said that she would be doing it without much of a fight. She nearly broke Nia Jax's arm last week. So, this past week, I should say. So, maybe I was wrong in stating that. Maybe it's because she's mostly been an innocent bystander whilst stuff happens in this feud. This is their booking, this is what they do. I can't complain, but if I do, there's a good reason for it. Now, speaking of the women's Money in the Bank that I alluded to, we have to talk about it now as Ember Moon, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Lana, Sasha Banks and Naomi fight for the briefcase. Now, my prediction is what I think everybody's going with, Natalya, because she'll either cash in on Ronda Rousey at this pay-per-view, which many people are predicting, or I personally believe Ronda's going to win the championship at SummerSlam, and then Natalya's going to cash in. Because I look at the rest of the combatants, outside of Becky Lynch, I don't really see anyone else winning this. I mean, Ember Moon has been hot-shotted into this big picture far too soon. Charlotte Flair doesn't really need it. Alexa Bliss can find other women to feud with. In fact, she could team up with the Riot Squad and make herself a lot of money. Not to mention Ruby Riott isn't even in this, meaning I had a surefire favourite not even meant to be cast. Then you look at Lana and go, okay, why? There's no point for Lana to win it, she's just there because Rusev. And then on top of that, Naomi and Sasha. I can see Bayley screwing Sasha, or trying to help Sasha, and then Sasha turns on Bayley, and then it all goes to hell. You can see where that goes. And Naomi, she won the Battle Royal at WrestleMania. She doesn't need this, in all fairness. There we go. Process of elimination will dictate that Natalya is the most logical winner here. How they do it, however, is what gets going to be really interesting, because you've got Bayley coming in here, you've got the Riot Squad potentially interfering as well. I mean, there are a few things that could spice it up. Not to mention, if the Iconics don't interfere in the women's title match on SmackDown, they'll be more than welcome in helping here. Not to mention, the rumours of James Ellsworth appearing at some point on this pay-per-view. You never know what's going to happen, especially in this match in particular. But Natalya is my pick for the victory. That's where I'm standing on that one, folks. It seems like everyone else is, and that's a good, safe bet. Now, the men's Money in the Bank. This one is a little harder to predict. We have Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Rusev, Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe, and a New Day member, as of yet to be determined. Basically, outside of the New Day member in question, and Rusev, and Braun Strowman, I was going to make an anecdote that this is an indie lover's wet dream, but then I've realised only half of the roster of this match are indie starlets, or former indie starlets. Strowman, Rusev, and the New Day are all products of WWE, whilst Balor, Owens, and Roode, and Joe are not, so yeah, I botched that. That's my mistake. Here's the thing, though. The process of elimination still counts. I feel if it's going to be Big E entering this contest, he has the most likely chance of winning, because then having him go around with a briefcase, pissing off everybody while gyrating with it, and putting unquestionable amounts of food substances in said briefcase, it's going to be funny, entertaining as hell, and brilliant, but I do not see him doing it. Even Xavier Woods going in there would be a lot of fun, and it would leave room for him to turn on the New Day in some smarmy heel style, but I wouldn't see it happening, not here, not now. Bobby Roode doesn't have much direction, he could benefit from it, but honestly, I'd rather see him going after the IC title, in my opinion, as a heel. Him versus Seth Rollins would be just amazing. Then you have Samoa Joe, who was my favourite to win for a while, but then I realised him going around with the briefcase is fine, but he doesn't need to hold that briefcase to get a WWE Championship feud on SmackDown. He can easily put himself anywhere on the roster, do something, and then immediately make the match a big deal. So he doesn't need it. He doesn't need the elevation from it. Kevin Owens in the exact same boat. Put him in a good feud on Raw and you could get away with anything with him. As long as it's not with Sami Zayn, because we've already seen it. But the fact is, does he need the briefcase? It would be good to have him going on about it for about, 5 or 6 months on end? He wouldn't be able to cash it in until it benefits him, so it'll be quite nice. Quite nice to at least do it on his terms this time to win the championship, rather than, having Triple H help him. And then again, can you imagine if Kevin Owens wins it and then screws Lesnar out of the championship? Oh, that'd be great. But then if Roman Reigns is fighting, you'd have Roman versus Kevin again, and we already saw that not long ago in the last year or two, so that kind of defeats the point. I don't see him winning it, and that makes sense. Then you get down to the two people who I think will win it. Finn Balor or Braun Strowman. Now, oh Jesus, this is tough. I mean, Finn Balor winning and then using it to gain redemption for the title he never lost is a story too good to ignore. But you've got Braun Strowman, a guy who is more likely going to cash that bloody briefcase in by announcing a match in advance, terrorizing Brock Lesnar everywhere he goes, saying you're not around here all the time, but hey, that's not going to stop me from whipping your ass, and then creating television where Heyman is on the edge of his seat. But then again, we already saw the build-up to Strowman versus Lesnar last time out, when it came to SummerSlam and No Mercy, which means, do we really want to see it again with a slightly different tinge? I mean, it would be entertaining as hell, watching Strowman walk around with that briefcase and know that nobody is ever going to try and win that briefcase away from him. That would be a good series of matches, going up against someone like, oh, let's see. Well, I'd say Finn Balor, but then he's not a heel, so okay, that idea goes out the window. The thing is, I was gonna go for Strowman originally. The more that I think about it, Finn Balor is the most logical choice. Yeah, I'm going to go for Finn Balor here. I'm changing my prediction on the fly. And that is good stuff, because you can imagine the conspiracy angle would make sense if Finn Balor were to win it, because he's Triple H's chosen one. Or he's one of Triple H's chosen ones. He has many. That'll be good for that story if WWE want to make it happen. But that all depends if Roman is going to be the one ending up main eventing at SummerSlam. That's what I'm saying. Now, the final contest, which I hope will be the main event on this card. Last man standing, AJ versus Shinsuke. This is the night where Shinsuke wins. I'm sorry, you have bogus countouts, DQs, a strange pinfall loss at Mania to instigate it all. I mean, the matches have been steadily improving between these two, now with violence aplenty potentially on the plate, and all kinds of shenanigans. I hope that Shinsuke gets the win, because I've predicted him to win pretty much every match in this feud, and he hasn't come out with it at all. This is the time to do it. 1 Kinshasa to the head, 2 Kinshasas to the head, 3 Kinshasas to the head. Will be great to see Shinsuke do it. Because this match, it could go across the entire arena. It could be energy sapping for both concerned. And I hope to God they're wearing cups this time, because it's going to be interesting to see how they play that in. The fact is, the build-up has all been about how Shinsuke lets his emotions get the better of him, which then, of course, allows Styles to do the same thing, and allowing both to kick 6 bells out of each other to where a match isn't really warranted. There needs to be a point in this where one of them knocks them out completely. Now, a Styles Clash can't do it, really, to be honest. Neither can a Calf Crusher. A Phenomenal Forearm with something wrapped around it probably could, but the fact is, a Kinshasa in front of a chair, for example, that'll do it. A Kinshasa hitting him off the edge of the stage, or somewhere backstage in the locker room area, that'll do it. The fact is, this feud has been building up momentum for Shinsuke's heel run to where he can win the big one. And that's why I didn't pick a men's winner for the Money in the Bank from SmackDown, because it wouldn't make much sense. You have a lot of potential face challenges outside of AJ Styles. Use them. Use them. Use them, people. And that's the thing. Shinsuke Nakamura is winning this match. I am pretty confident, because what the hell is the point of stretching this out 4 shows thick if you don't have the heel get something out of it? And that is where I'm going to end my 2 cents and this video entirely. What do you all think about my predictions? Well, if you agree or disagree, the comment section is open down below if you want to deliver some. And if you don't, and you want to just idly wait by until my review of Money in the Bank on Monday, then all you have to do is click the subscribe button and be patient. And that is all I can say, and I would greatly appreciate if you do click that subscribe button and the like button for all measure, because it shows that you guys are enjoying this content, even if the schedule, thanks to really poor shows, has been intermittent. This time, however, I'm not focusing on Raw and SmackDown, and it's been a nice refresher. Hopefully the pay-per-view can hopefully repair the weeks of poor damage from Raw, and solid consistency from SmackDown can be amplified. Let's hope Monday and the review will deliver all. I have been Freddie Thomas, you've been people watching. This has been a Wrestling Rant pay-per-view prediction special for the CC Network, and I will see you all next time.